Hi everybody, it's Cathryn from In the Pink Designs, and my project today is a box for some Hershey foil hearts. These are the milk chocolate ones. They come in silver and pink, I believe. Yes, the silver and the pink. This was, I think, $4 from Walmart. Okay, so the box measures 4 1/4 by 1 1/2 by 1/2. And it opens, here it is, like this, and the hearts come out the side. All right. So we're using the heart-shaped bundle for the flowers and these leaves here. And I'm using, it's actually this die here from the Unbounded Love dies to make the window. And I'm using the Most Adored DSP, which is retired. It was in the clearance rack for quite a while. But we do have a similar one. I just like the prints on this one better. But you should be able to find something for Valentine's Day. So we need a piece of real red cardstock that is 5 3/4 by 4 1/2. 2 pieces of DSP that are 4 1/8 by 1 3/8. I'm putting it right up to the edge of the box so that we have more room for the window. All right, then we need a little piece of basic white for stamping and a window sheet that is 3 3/4 by 1 3/8. Let me get my Simply Scored. And we're going to start on the 5 3/4 inch side. Score at 1/2, 1, and 5 1/4. Turn it to the 4 1/2 inch side and score at 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, and 4. And you can definitely get 2 of these out of every sheet of cardstock. All right, 4 out of an 8 1/2 by 11. All right. Let's fold and burnish your score lines. Okay, we're going to be working with this so that it's up and down like this, like in portrait mode, as they would say on the camera. There's 2 1/2 inch rectangles at the top and 1 on the bottom, and then there's 1 on each side. And this is what we're going to be doing. All right, so let's start over here. Go to the first score line, cut it to the first score line, and then wedge up into that 1/2 inch rectangle. Okay, go to the next 2 score lines and cut them to the first score line, and then wedge both sides of that square. And go to the last score line, cut it to the first score line, and wedge. So that's your bottom. Now turn it so that the 2 strips of 1/2 inch rectangles are on the bottom. And we're going to go to the first score line, cut it to the second score line, take off the above square, and wedge the bottom one. Okay, go to the next 2 score lines and cut them to the second score line. Take up off the above square and wedge the one at the bottom. And then we're going to take these 4 pieces off and wedge up into that 1/2 inch rectangle. All right, and the last thing we have to do, round the corners of both sides. And that's what your cardstock should look like when you're done. So now what we have to do is, this is how our box is going to close. So the seam's going to be down here, so I'm going to make the bottom of the box like that. So our top flap is right here. What we want to do is put on this piece of DSP so that we can cut our window out. I'm going to use Stampin' Seal Plus so that it's really tight with the window and all. But if you put liquid glue on here, make sure you wait till it's completely dry because it will get squeezed out by the die cutting machine. I'm just going to roll back anything right there. All right. And then let's put this right on here. The only thing I don't like about using the Stampin' Seal is that you have no wiggle room. You have to put it down right away, and that's where it's going to stay. All right. Now I'm using this die. You can use whatever die you want. This one is about 2 3/4 long by 1 inch wide. And I'm just going to eyeball it in between, and then make sure your tape is nice and sticky, because I had to do this twice because it moved. All right, and then I'm going to put this through my die cutter, and I'll be right back. And I'm going to pull it up, and there's our window. So now, before I forget, I'm going to flip over the whole thing, and I'm just going to put a very light amount of glue so it doesn't squeeze out too hard. And then I'm going to put our window sheet on, which is 3 3/4 by 1 3/8. Yeah, that's good. It didn't really squeeze out at all. That just has to dry. And while that's drying, now this side, the pattern is going to go the other way. I usually put this on after, but since this is such a skinny box, if you want a little grip hole, you have to take it before you close it. Unless you have the nice skinny ones. I have big fat ones. So I'm going to put that down. I'm just going to take a little bit, just so it's easy to see where the back is. All right, this seems to be adhered very nicely. So we're going to get some tear and tape and put it on what's left of that 1/2 inch rectangle next to the score line. And take the backing off. All right, this one might be a little bit hard of a squeeze. You might have to lift it up since it's so small. But I'm going to make sure that everything is even and then squeeze the sides together. Okay. All right. Now our box is together. And this is our front because our seam is back here. I'm going to put the little tabs in. Put a little bit of glue on the tabs and pull the back flap in, and then the front flap. And just use something skinny to make sure that those little flaps stay down. All right. And that is your box. Now let's get our basic white, and we're going to do the flowers with real red ink. I might have to put this on my Stampin' Pierce mat. Nope, that's good. And I'm going to cut this out with my heart-shaped dies, this one, and I'm going to cut these 2 pieces of greenery out of Old Olive, and I'll be right back. Now, let's just look at how I'm doing it here. The 2-leaf piece, I'm putting right there about. It's right in this little valley there. And I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to get some pieces of dimensionals. This one's cut good. And I'll put that right over that stem. All right, and that's one side. Let me cut my dimensional first. All right. And then the other side, we're going to put down here at the bottom, just like that. All right, so we're going to flip that over, put our dimensional right over that so it sticks. And then I'll put another little piece in there. Okay, and then we're just going to put it so it kind of mirrors the side of the window. All right. Then what we need is some iridescent striped ribbon, and we're going to tie a bow on this side. Okay, and now I'll get some hearts. You can put the pink in if you want to, but this paper I kind of like the silver better. And of course you could put other types of candy that's only a 1/2 inch or less high. And I'm just going to put a glue dot under the bow to keep it nice and steady there. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, my email is below, along with all the links to my blog and my Facebook group. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.